Hi, my name is Mark Buckshawn, and this is the third in the series on construction marketing ideas. Today I want to talk to you a bit about the recession and what you need to do to survive. My advice here is, of course, not 100% certain. If I had that ability, I wouldn't be doing this recording. I'd be sitting in a villa with my wealth piled up around me. No one can predict the entire future of the world economy or give an absolute answer. I'm fortunate that when I started my business back in 1988, I just started before the last significant prolonged multi-year recession. As we went into the early 1990s, it got scary, but we survived and continued, and the business continues today. There are some basic rules that you must follow to survive hard times. Number one, don't bury your head in the sand. You must deal with the situation in front of you. Number two, there's really two effective ways to get through hard times. Increase your profits and revenues or reduce your costs. Sometimes you have to do them in concert. That's the ideal way. If you can increase your revenues and reduce your costs, you've got a viable business. If you can't, you're in trouble. There are two other sort of solutions, but they're dangerous. Number one, borrow money to carry on, hoping that things will get better, and then maybe you can repay. Or second, use your own personal resources and capital to fund the business. In other words, deplete your assets. Both of those choices are highly risky. I'm not saying you should never consider those options. For example, you may have absolute confidence in your potential in your business, and you think that just a little bit of time will get it through. But realistically, if you see the warning signs on the wall, you must act. Now, the question is, what do you do when the market's drying up on you? Well, most people who have been in business any length of time either rely on word of mouth. Rely is a big word. You need to find a way to systematize your marketing so that you encourage that word of mouth to continue. In a previous video, I gave some ideas on how you can do some follow-up service and communication with your existing clients to build your business. Some people start businesses in recession. Often you've been laid off from your job and you're ready to move forward with something else. This is where an important business lesson and principle applies. Even in the most severe economic environment, a certain number of people are going to have opportunities and work. Let's assume, for example, things get absolutely desperate and let's say there's a 60 to 70% unemployment rate, something I don't think will get that bad. Well, there's still 30 to 35% or 40% people still have jobs. Which 40% will have their opportunity to work? It's probably the very best of whatever it is. In other words, whatever your skills are, whatever your talents are, if you're in the top 20%, you're probably going to be okay. This is an important point. If you're really good and really passionate at what you are and what you do, you'll survive. You may have some rough spots, but you'll make it through. If you're just holding on for the job because it's a job, then you may have to look closely at where your strengths are and figure out where your opportunities are. And if in the case you are laid off by your previous employer, but your passion, your skills, and your talents are strong enough to be in business for yourself, a recession is an ideal time to start. Now, I should emphasize, I'm not talking about starting a high capitalization business. I'm talking a business with sweat equity rather than money. You don't want to invest large amounts of cash when cash is short. You need to preserve it. That's one of the basic rules of survival. Now, let's say you have an established business, though, and you need to do some cuts. Well, you must do the cuts if you have to. It's your job or your employees, your job should survive. But before you cut, before you take measures that seem drastic, get some advice from professionals who specialize in these areas. Good employment, or if you're feeling your business is going to be insolvent, insolvency lawyers are important, and you need to get that advice well before you reach a crisis point. In other words, get the advice before the doors are closing on you. The reason is that some of the measures you might want to be tempted to take at the very last minute could get you in deep trouble or cause unintended consequences. You fire an employee and you find a lawsuit in your hands. You can usually deal with that stuff by planning ahead, but you need to get the advice now. Finally, there is one bit of optimism here. All recessions and all hard times end, and businesses that survive and make it through these difficult environments usually do well going forward. Keep an eye on the basics. Don't rush to cut your prices. Work to increase the value you provide your existing clients, and look closely at your business and its focus where there's some strength. Listen to the advice of others who survived hard times, and be true to your values. You will make it through, and you will do well. If you have any questions about this video or would like more information, feel free to visit my blog at constructionmarketingideas.blogspot.com or email me at buckshon@cnrgp.com. I don't charge for this advice, and I'm happy to help you as much as I can. Thanks a lot. Until next week.